damage to the Eagle's Nest from the RAF bombing run. At this point, we can see the entry just behind me here. The two buildings that you see on either side of the entrance hall, those are not original. Those were all built later on, so nothing original in there. But from this point of the tunnel entrance, as you can see on the outside and through the tunnel as we head through, is all in its original condition. Here's front. All of the stonework that you can see, not just the outside, as I say, it's the same stone that runs all the way down the tunnel, is all marble. The whole tunnel is marble. It's local marble from the Untersberg mountain, which is very close to where we are now. You will notice that the marble as we head through is quite textured, lumpy and bumpy. It's not smooth. Every single piece of marble, the whole of the tunnel, is hand finished in place. They brought in a team of Italian stoneworkers to do that. I must also mention, somebody asked me earlier about the workforce. It was a paid workforce. So it's often assumed that it was a slave labour being used to build all of this construction that I'm talking about today, but in actual fact that's not the case. All of the workforce were paid for the work. When we talk about the workforce for the area here, we do tend to split it into two kind of groups of people because they were ever so slightly differently sorted. So the above ground project earlier on, so the leaders' homes that I'm talking about, the Eagle's Nest project as well, were all highly skilled professional construction workers, contracted in, paid for their work. In actual fact, quite highly paid for the work, particularly this project, because there was an element of danger to the project, working on the peak of a mountain, and also at times quite harsh conditions. I said 13 months of construction, that ran solidly, and it ran through the winter time. We do get cold conditions, lots of snow up here as well, so they were compensated for that. When it came to the bunkers, they started very late on the bunkers, and it kind of had to happen fairly quickly. They needed numbers, and they were a little less fussy with who they employed to do that. So you do sometimes see the bunker workforce described as a forced workforce. They were paid for the work, so slave labour or forced labour in that term, but because they were less fussy, it wasn't necessarily the most highly skilled construction workers. Some of them weren't construction workers at all. And we say forced because they weren't given a choice in the matter. If they were coming here to build the bunkers, they were coming here to build the bunkers. And that's kind of the end of it. So that's a little bit about the workforce. It was predominantly Germans and Austrians. Italians finished the tunnel just up here, we say. There were some Czech workers down on the mountainside also. So all of this is in original condition. You see the engraving at the top above the tunnel, 1938, I say that's the completion date. About it's just the German word for built. So in effect, built 1938 is the original engraving. You can also see the light fittings hanging from the ceiling all the way along the tunnel there. Those are also the original light fixtures. The doors are original as well. A slight difference with the doors. They are today missing the door handles. So originally they had very large lion-shaped door handles. But again, lots and lots of souvenirs were taken at the end of the war by the Allied troops making their way through, and that's what happened to the door handles. With regards to the first troops to arrive to the mountainside, the Obersalzbergs are so significant, the troops that were in the vicinity, there was a little bit of a race on to the mountainside. Everybody wants to be the first to get to Obersalzberg. So the first troops arriving to the mountainside, there were different troops arriving very closely together, which was early May of 1945. The first troops to arrive to the Berghof, the home at the lower level we started, were the French troops. French 2nd Armoured Division arriving there first. The first troops arriving to the Eagle's Nest, the American troops. The official surrender of Berchtesgaden. So there was a ceremony down in Berchtesgaden in the old town. There's the Schlossplatz, which is the kind of square. That's where the official surrender took place, and the surrender was taken by the American troops as well, the US 3rd Infantry Division taking the surrender, and that was on the 4th of May 1945. The tunnel is in length 406 feet. into the mountain, and then we're going to get into the elevator, travel up to the top, and that journey is exactly the same length. So the length of the elevator shaft is the exact same as the tunnel. So another 406 feet or 124 meters up to the top. The actual cabin that we're going to be travelling in, the actual elevator cabin, is the original cabin. So it's the same cabin that they would have travelled in back during the regime. It's a pretty large cabin, very kind of shiny and ornate. Another ever so slightly small error that you read about, it is often described as Hitler's gold elevator or his gold-plated elevator. Not quite true. It looks golden, so I can see why that was said. It's made from polished brass, the elevator, but it is the original cabin, as I say. Of course, behind the scenes, the cables, the mechanisms, the motor, everything that's actually powering us up and down is not original. It's been replaced lots of times. And that also means that we have a faster journey today. We just have more up-to-date technology. So originally that journey in the elevator would have taken 10 minutes.
Wow.
For us today, it's much, much faster. It's going to take only 45 seconds for us to get there. So quite a lot faster. What we're going to do, we're going to head on up. We are a pretty large group today, so we're not all, it is a big elevator, but we won't fit all of us in together. We'll split the group, but that's not a problem at all. We'll head on to the top. As I say, the Eagle's Nest today, I mentioned earlier, is run as a restaurant. There are 3 main rooms up there. We're going to go through the first 2 rooms quite quickly because they are restaurant rooms, and I don't want to disturb anyone and be kind of yelling in the middle of the restaurant. So we'll go through the first rooms quite quickly. I'll find a quiet place where I'm going to carry on talking. I've got a couple more pictures, and then, as I say, you've got plenty of time to yourselves. You can take another break from listening to me and to take a closer look at everything. So don't worry, we will go through the first 2 rooms quickly as a group. But don't worry, if you miss anything, you'll have plenty of time to go back through, take a closer look, take photographs, anything like that. No problem. Okay. So, for now, please follow me. Here we go.
Wow. Pretty incredible. Yeah. 400, yeah, 412 or 450 or it's 400 something.
Like in the other places, you know, the Latin places, they speak more Spanish, but there they speak a lot more Spanish.
Yeah, it is. 10 minutes versus 45. That's it's too far. 45 feet. Oh yeah. Great with the elevator. Not very fast. Yeah. Really is. Ooh, cool. No pictures.
Heading into the advanced talent.
Yeah, it almost is. Well, I gotta take a picture of the no pictures.
I can see already what they call it to go